Hey, good morning, everyone. For those of you that weren't there for the stakeholders meeting last month, well, I assume most were, my name is Chandler Jones. I've been working at the DEQ for around 2 years now, and I've been pushing to integrate EQuIS as a software tool into the brownfields process for off and on for a good majority of that time. Um, I'm joined here by Ethan Brown today. He's kind of our EQuIS guru here at DEQ. So he's going to be able to answer some of the more technical questions that people may have. He actually created this slideshow comes from our general EQuIS presentation that Ethan holds. I kind of co-opted and stole what I needed to from it. So I'm going to extend a preemptive thanks to him for letting me borrow what I need. So as a quick introduction to EQuIS, EQuIS is an environmental and geotechnical data management and decision support system. It allows us to handle and visualize a wider range of data types and workflows from deliverables that we receive in the form of spreadsheets. This includes like chemistry, geotechnical data, monitoring locations and depths, other sampling types, all of which we can report and visualize in the processor itself. It's an extremely powerful tool for us here at the DQ. A lot of the other sections, as some of you may know, have already integrated it into their process. And it's about time, I think, that Brownfields does too. So I'm glad to see that we are getting some sort of tangible progress on this. For brownfields in particular, we will primarily be using this for the creation of Exhibit 2s. This expedites that process significantly. We can create templates that we can use for the data that's reported in EQuIS itself to cut out all the sampling data that we don't need, everything that's unnecessary, and just report exactly what we want, which is exactly what we need when we report Exhibit 2s for exceedances and non-detects and other things. It also allows us to just have all of this data in one centralized database. We've been working to integrate brownfields. We've been working towards more data integration in brownfields with Dynamics and other programs, Laserfish and stuff like that for a long time now, and allowing us to have all that data and all that sampling data ready to be compared against other sites and other sets of data is essential for us here. We receive this data, like I said, in what is known as EDDs or electronic data deliverables. These will appear like this. They are spreadsheet documents that, oh, sorry, I got somebody that's joining in now. These are spreadsheets that we receive that we can upload to EQuIS directly. And sorry, let me find my place. These sorry, these can be submitted as spreadsheets or line delineated text documents, though we'd prefer them to be submitted as spreadsheets so that we can actually read them and find the errors in them. So yeah, moving forward, you'll find all the formats for these reference values and spreadsheets here on the website. I will paste a link to that in the chat right now. Let me go ahead and do that. Add them here. There it is. Oops, not sending. Okay, there they are. That's where you'll find all the formatting data, all of the troubleshooting that you may need, installation and reference guides, so on and so forth. Let me get back to the presentation. Can everybody see that? Just making sure that the presentation's back to where it was.
We don't see the presentation yet. Again, Chandler.
Okay, okay. Let me fix that then. Is that better?
There you go. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, PowerPoint's being very finicky. Okay, find my place. Okay, So on this page, you'll find the download for the standalone version of the EQuIS data processor. You'll find our EDP format file. You'll find reference values in a zip file containing a .rfv file, which is a reference value file. And I'll go into what those reference values are later, because I know there may be some confusion between reference values and screening levels. You'll find a blank EDD Excel file with a legend for the fields of the EDD and installation instructions for the newest version of the standalone EDP. Some of you may already have a good idea of what these files are, and some of you may not. Like, what the heck is all of this? So starting from the top, we have the standalone download for the EDP. This is the workflow component that's used for checking and packaging data to be submitted into the EQuIS database. It's what we use to actually get our data into the database itself, and we'll go over its use a little more when we get into submittal methods. Next is the DEQ format file. This is how the data communicates with the database itself. This is how we check and package the data. It's a set of rules that the data processor will read to know what's being submitted when an EDD is loaded into it. Without it, the EDP won't know what it's reading, and so we use this all the time. Do not extract this file. The zip file itself is what will be submitted to the EDP itself. Next is the reference value zip folder. Like I said, this contains a single .rfv file or reference value file. And reference values in this instance don't refer to screening levels. That's something we handle on our end. Do not need to worry about all the screening levels of those thousands of values we handle here. And those comparisons are something that we deal with. This is basically your data template. It contains all the analytical methods, analytes, cast numbers, accepted coordinates, accepted units, coordinate types, and other sampling values that EQuIS itself can read. If the data being submitted to the EDP doesn't follow those outlines that are in the RFV file, it may spit back some errors to you. And the newest version of these will always be on the website. So if there's some form of error that you're getting, that might be a good first place to check if EQuIS itself isn't telling you what the error is. Next, we have the blank, just making sure. Oh, next we have the reference value XLS file. This is just a spreadsheet containing all of the reference values in the RFV. This isn't used. This is just to visualize all that data. And also, the RFV file should be extracted from the zip file download. I'll go back to that. We have a blank EDD available for use here, right underneath the XLS of the reference value files. We'd prefer that all EDDs that are submitted to us follow this formatting in the Excel format. It just makes it easier to read for us and easier to find errors. I think we've received some that are in tab delimited text files, and while EQuIS is smart and it can read those, generally it's just a lot harder for us to read it if there's something wrong with it. So yeah. And then lastly, you'll find instructions for actually how to download the EDP, the standalone version of the EDP. All right, so I want to stop here and ask if there are any questions so far on what I've covered. You can paste those in the chat if you want. Shut up. Okay. We have nothing yet, then I'll move on to submittal methods. Before I get into so the main method I'm going to be exploring right now is the sign and submit method. But before I get into that, I just want to say that sign and submit is generally for consultants that will be regularly submitting data to us, like our larger firms that have a lot of clients, a lot of PDs that are making a lot of sites and facilities. So if you're not someone that's going to be getting a lot of data to us regularly, I think it would be perfectly acceptable to just send the EDDs via email to me. That's how I've received them thus far. In this form, you can just zip them or send them as a folder directly to me, and I'll handle that myself. But for larger flows and for constant uploads, sign and submit will be what is preferred on that end, because we only have so many people that can interface with EQuIS at one time. We only have so many computers that can handle uploads at one time. It just makes it easier if we go through with that for some of the larger firms. And so sign and submit, normally if you submit an EDD, like I said, through me, I'll upload it to the EQuIS, EQuIS Professional and upload it to the database directly. But this kind of skips the middleman. Let me find my place. Yeah, skips the middleman by allowing you to interface with the EQuIS server directly from the standalone EDP that you find on the DEQ website. And you do that by emailing a zip file to the EQuIS email as a proxy. It's pretty straightforward once everything is set up. And like I said, it's perfect for consultants who submit a large amount of data regularly. So things that you'll need for the sign and submit method, you'll need the standalone version of the data processor or the professional version if you have it. You'll need the latest reference value file and the most recent DEQ format file that you can find on the website that I sent in the chat. You'll need an NCDEQ EQuIS account, which I will go over after this slide. You'll need the facility established in EQuIS. This is something that will happen generally within 2 weeks after a site is deemed eligible. So after the LOE is sent out, within 2 weeks, we try to get those uploaded. We just wait for a big batch of facilities to go through with eligibility so that we can upload all at the same time rather than just one at a time. So getting a DEQ EQuIS account requires submitting your contact information. That includes a name and email address to, I believe Ethan sends out that that information. He'll provide a step-by-step guide on how to get an account set up through email after this. We'll get names of those who want to use the sign and submit method after I finish this presentation. And for getting an account set up, that also comes with a minor homework assignment that I'll show you what it is. It'll go over it in the email, but I just want to show you quickly what that homework assignment will look like. It'll involve you making a new location in EQuIS, a sort of dummy facility in a field called DT location, and I'll show you what that looks like here. So this is the EQuIS window, and let me close this so I can open it anew and show you directly. So from the tables, our data tables that we have on the server here, we go to GT location, and these are all people from, I see AECOM, Geosyntec, Terracon, Hart and Hickman, all folks who have created an EQuIS account for the sign and submit method. And so you'll be creating a location here in this data field, and the email will go over everything that you need to do that, step-by-step process. Yeah, it'll show you everything you need. Let me go back to my slides. Moving forward. So what you need to do, the first step of the sign and submit method, I'll actually share both EQuIS and my slides here so that you can see. Share my screen. You'll come to the data processor. So I'll open that up here. Come to the data processor and go to File. I don't see it on my end, but on your end, there will be an option here for reference values .rbf, and that's where you will load the reference value file that you downloaded from the website. you'll select this backspace arrow here to go back to, sorry, your reference value file here. Select this backspace arrow to go back to the main data processor. You'll see that it has the DEQ format down at the bottom. I don't see that because I use a different version of EQuIS. And then you will upload your EDD information. So if successful, yeah, you'll see that on the bottom left there. You load in your EDD information, go back to the File tab and click Sign and Submit. I don't have this option on my version of the data processor. Just opened it up to follow along, but this is where that is here. And here you'll enter in your username and password that you're provided from the account that you made, the program code, which for us will always be BRS, and the facility. If for some reason the facility isn't in EQuIS yet, I should have made it by that point, or somebody else should have made it by that point, given that it's been 2 weeks. But if it is not, it will not show up in the drop-down menu. So if it's not there, reach out to either the project manager or me directly, and we'll get that fixed as fast as possible so you can get your information in. And then under that, you'll see options for whether it's the first time you're submitting an EDD, a resubmittal for that specific site, or an update for that specific site. So if you're adding information or removing information, changing information, you'll just select one of those accordingly. And then you click Save, and it will save your EDD in a zip file that contains the date it was created and the time, the name of the facility itself, and if it's a merge, if it's an update, a remove, or a first-time submittal. Do not change the name on this file at all. This is how the server will read the information that's in the zip folder. You then go to your email this to the EQuIS server, ncdeq@equisonline.com. Add the attachment and name it something that you will remember for that site, and send it off. And if it is successful, it will email you back with a success message. If there are errors, it will email you back with errors. I believe if there's an error with the naming, it won't email you back. Ethan, is that correct?
That's correct. And if you don't get an email back, there's usually the main thing is either your password was wrong or you didn't use the right username when signing the somewhat signing the certificate, so to speak. So that's basically it. So if you don't get any message back, that's usually a sign that something has not gone right. And it can take, up to an hour before the system actually picks it up and evaluates whether you even have the right username. So don't be in a rush. You won't get an immediate email back, but it will happen usually within an hour. If you don't get an email back within an hour, that's usually signs something's gone wrong with your submittal. And you need to reach out to Chandler directly then, and we can follow up on that.
Yeah, and some of these uploads, I mean, depending on the amount of data that's being submitted, it takes a while. So if it's only been 15 minutes, don't be quick to jump the gun on that. But that is about everything I have to show for the sign and submit method and data submittal in general. Like I said, smaller firms, if you aren't uploading a lot of data frequently, I would recommend just sending them to me directly. But for those that submit data regularly, this is the premium and preferred method. So if there are any questions in that, I'd like to take them now. Feel free to drop them in the chat if you have any, or speak up directly. And again, a lot of this will be covered in the email for creating new EQuIS accounts. And it's a step-by-step process. And I'm pretty sure the links I included had some installation information and EDD information on there too. I want to go ahead and ask if there's anyone here that wants to use the sign and submit method, if they could write their names in the chat now or give a thumbs up in the chat. Allison, I don't think so. Ethan, is that the case?
That's correct. If you're already doing work for another DEQ, especially another DWM project in a different program, your account's already created. You would just need to make sure that when you submit your EDD that you're choosing the brownfield project that you may be working on instead of whatever the other project is. And it goes all into the same place, but we obviously want to make sure the data goes to the right facility.
Right. Great. Well, here is my contact information. I'd also like to say if you're watching remotely or after, or if you haven't decided on whether or not you want to use the sign and submit method yet, feel free to reach out to me after the fact. Sharon, did we also want to do that through the is the program code BF or BRS? BF was what we were using for internal testing. BRS is what we are going to be using for all data submittal. So BRS is what we use. Sharon, did we, if people wanted to create sign and submits after the fact, should they email me or Shirley through the stakeholders email list or?
I think they can just email you directly, Chandler.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, yeah. So if any decisions are made after the fact, feel free to email me directly. And I'll forward that to Ethan. Okay. Leave another minute or so for questions, but that's everything that I had to present today. I know it may have been a lot for those that aren't familiar with EQuIS, but I hope it was helpful at the very least.
No, I thought that was a great introduction to that, Chandler, and I'm sure people will, when they get the email with the step-by-step, they might have more questions then if they're not familiar with it.
Yeah,
But thank you so much.
of course. All right. Well,
Any further questions? Seems like we're just getting thank yous now, so that's good.
yeah. Okay, good. Makes me happy with the presentation then. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then thank you all for joining. Thank you for
Oh,
bearing
wait,
with
hang
me.
on, there's one more. Let's see. What tabs are going to be required by brownfields?
In terms of tabs, do you mean like the EDD file itself? Like the spreadsheet
Yeah, I think she's
file?
referring to the individual sections.
Okay.
Obviously, we need DT location, so we need to know where the sample locations are. But are there any other ones that are brownfields, maybe specific to brownfields that you all would like to see? Because we have lots of tabs in our EDD, and Chandler didn't say this, but honestly, we have lots of tabs in our EDD if you open it up. But please don't get overwhelmed. You're not required to fill out every tab, so it's not a homework assignment in that it just takes forever because there's a million things. And that's what I think Savannah's asking is which ones outside of location and obviously the chemistry section, which is the sample, the test result QC, and the batch. What other ones that maybe brownfields might like to see? Because some programs like to see water level
Yeah.
Some, some have other things that well construction, if that's a thing. Again, these
Mhm.
are, I think that's what Savannah's trying to get to.
Yeah, I think a lot of the required ones show up as red in the tab, correct?
Well, not the tabs themselves. So
Right.
if you were opening up EDP again and you look
Hmm.
at it, there are certain tab, or if you look at the blank EDD, you'll see the tabs at the bottom is what she's referring to.
Right,
And
right.
which of those tabs are you as Brownfields, the reuse program, asking for sure to get? Right now, it's definitely DT location. Anytime
Yeah,
you collect a sample, we need to know where it was. And obviously the chemistry results will come from the lab. They use those 3 sections in the chemistry grouping, which is like I said, sample, test results, and batch. But there are other
yeah.
pieces of that you may want to have.
I
And
know
I
we
don't know if Brownfields
want
has a requirement yet.
I know we want lithology because we need our start depth and end depth for soil samples. We need the soil gas tab, field sample, um, test result, um, sample V1, I believe field result too. We've had some that don't include that. I'm looking at one. Uh, if it's not soil, generally we need the soil gas for soil gas, batch V1, sample V1, test result QC V1. Um, and then obviously for soil, we'd need the lithology tab because we need that sampling depth. Um,
Chandler, would it make sense to follow up with, a spreadsheet or an
yeah,
annotated, tabs on something so it's clear to people what it is we're
yeah.
specifically asking for?
Yeah, I'll send that out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And there was another chat that came in. Allison, I see your hand up too, but Samantha had, if I have a previous sign and submit account with the previous employer, will it be an issue if I need to make an account with my current employer?
I
So
think,
no, on that front, the way your accounts are handled as far as NCDQ work is it's by your email address. So if you change your email address, then we will create a new account using your new email address. And then you shouldn't need to reinstall the software, but I don't know why you'd have the same computer. I don't know how it's configured on your end, but basically email address is the driving factor of your account. So if you did get a new email address because you changed employers, reach out to us and we can definitely create a new account for you for this work.
Great. And then Allison's got her hand up. I think maybe Chandler, you might have to unmute
oh,
Allison.
sorry, did I have people muted? Or no, I don't.
Well, it's a webinar.
No,
I think everybody's muted.
I was able to unmute. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Okay.
good. Okay.
Okay,
Go
thank
ahead,
God.
Allison.
I was worried for a second that I had that the whole time.
No, I was just gonna add about the requirement component.
Mhm.
We do this, and every program is probably different, but we do this for the PRLF program, and how we organize it is by lab report. So you might submit a lab report that just has a surface water sample in it.
Yeah,
So you're not going to necessarily require lithology information.
yeah.
So there's the requirements component is very complicated to dictate because you can deliver data in very variable ways, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Right, yeah.
So the location is pretty much all that's required. And then it's going to be specific after that.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. We haven't received too many of these, so I haven't had too much time to play with it and see like everything that comes in. But yeah, by lab data, by lab report generally is a good determinant to go by.
Okay, and another question, when is Brownfields going to start requiring EDDs for all project data? Well, we'd like it now, right? Want to
Yeah,
move
we'd like
forward.
Yeah, we'd
this
like to
is
get all of this in right now. I mean,
Mhm.
in terms of creating exhibit twos, I can open EQuIS right now, load in one of my test facilities, select the template that I've made, and it'll spit me out the table for the exhibit 2 immediately.
Yeah, it's really part and efficiency measures for us. Goes hand in hand with modifying our brownfield template, using this approach to at least create the initial draft of the exhibit 2s. There might be some legacy data we'll have to manually add, but this will help, be a great step in helping move all that forward quickly. So yeah. Thank
Of
you.
course.
Anything else?
Sharon, just quickly, do we want this uploaded to the website under the stakeholders tab?
Yes, I think that's a
Okay.
great idea. We'll put the recording there,
Okay,
so it's available to people. Mm-hmm.
I'll add that later today then.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I will work on getting this uploaded to the website for anyone who wants the recording, who doesn't have it right now, anyone who may be watching remotely after the fact. Please feel free to reach out to me if there are any further questions on the matter, or Ethan for the more technical questions. But I want to thank you all for joining today. It was a pleasure to present for you. Thank you for bearing with me through my presentation. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chandler and Ethan. Thanks, everyone. Let Chandler or Ethan know if you got any other follow-up questions. And if we may be doing this again in the fall, if there's sufficient interest, but we'll be talking about that in future stakeholder meetings. So we'll let you all know if that's if that we have enough interest to do that. Thank you so much.
Take care, everyone.